Cleveland, this is for you.
Remember the name.
Sports Talk Zone. Welcome back. I'm Ranaja.
This is Mikhail.
And this is another week of Sports Talk Zone where sports is life. Today's episode is brought to you by Brina Boutique. For all your fitness apparels and gym accessories in all sizes, contact Brina Boutique on Instagram at Brina_Boutique876. Let's start off this week with some football, Mickey. Manchester United versus Wolves. Manchester lose that game 1-0 and was pretty much dominated for the entire 90 minutes of that game. What was your takeaway from the game?
Well, this goes to show that maybe Ole wasn't the problem and goes to show that Manchester United is just not good enough. Even though Wolves, people underestimate their defense. They are a very defensive team. They play compact and it's not any just walkover as some persons might think. So you have to give Wolves the credit, because they do give team trouble. But Manchester United is just not good enough. I don't know. They tried almost everything, but it just didn't work no matter what they did. Manchester United just need to go back to the drawing board. It's just a poor performance, even though they were coming out of I think a good stretch of being undefeated but not winning convincingly. But they were losing.
This is their first defeat since Ole has left.
Yes, but they weren't convincing in a lot of those games that they drew and won. But it was a poor performance by them. I'm not going to bash Manchester United. I'm going to credit Wolves for the way that they played. They did well. Hats off the Wolves. Great win for them. Manchester United, just not good enough. Need to do something differently. I don't know what it is, but something has to change. Something has to change.
What I will say is that obviously this might not be a coaching issue with this team because they have changed coaches often enough and still getting the same results. So probably it's more of a players issue. And when you have a team like Manchester United with so many world-class players and they're saying this is the most expensive squad in world football and you can't beat a Wolves team, actually a Wolves team is dominating you, you can't manage to break into the top four, much less the challenge for a title, then I think probably there will have to be some serious look into the team of if they need some of these players. Who can they get rid of and start over and have some fresh faces come into the environment? Because what obviously is happening here is pretty much a repeat of what happens every time a new coach come into Manchester United. They look like they're doing good for a little period of time and then they go back into their old ways. That's what happened all the time. It happens with Ole and it happened here now. And you could even say it happened with Jose to a certain extent also. So pretty much I think this is more of a players issue. As much as I still feel like Ole wasn't the man for the job, it is becoming more apparent that it's definitely some issues that is with the players or the mentality of the players at the club. That is my takeaway from that. There's also rumors coming out of Manchester United that the players are not very convinced by the coach style and the coach system that he's trying to get the United players to play. Do you think that is about time now that Manchester United actually get an overall as a club?
Well, at this current time, I would say it's too quick to say the players are not buying into the coach system as yet because it's just been, 7 games?
Well, it's rumors. I'm not the one saying
exactly.
What's out there in the media.
So, and even Fred took to social media stating that he's happy at the club because there was rumors about players being unhappy and he was one of those, and he said that he's happy because what I know, the coach came out and said, yes, they have a big squad, and with such a big squad, everybody is not going to get the time that they want to get because we know players such as Martial, Van der Beek, to name a few, who think that should be able to get first team action and they're not getting that. So yes, they're unhappy. They're not even coming in on a sub. So their career basically stands still. And for this transfer period in January, some of these players will be going and hopefully then we can have better team morale. And even funny enough, I heard a lot of persons saying Ronaldo should go because he's clogging up Manchester United's attack.
Interesting. So, the man that has the most goals.
The most goals, yes.
An interesting
But
statement
still,
to me.
playing just straight through your attack, just through him at the age of what, 37?
Yes, but I don't think they have to play that way. I think that's the system that was being run by Ole.
Knowing that the caliber player that he is, it's gonna be take a man to really put him and let him know that you're past your best. Now is the younger youth generation.
Do you believe that the managing staff and some of the players, if not all of the players, are intimidated by Ronaldo's presence?
It is a possibility that could be so, because I remember when Ole benched Ronaldo and it caused a stir in the whole entire world. Why could you have your best player on the bench and why did you not start him and then take him off? So
I think it's only a problem if you don't win the game. If you win the game, it can't be a problem. But if you don't win the game, that's when it's a problem.
And that's why I'm saying that probably I would agree maybe it's time for him to move on, because yes, he's great and we know what he's capable of doing, but it can't be exactly. And when somebody wants to do what is best for the club, you yourself can be able to take a sit back and say, this is best for the club. I can provide assistance elsewhere. Maybe coming off the bench at times, somebody else is not better run a farm. But because of who you are, it's treason to put you on the bench. So
Ronaldo ego will not allow that.
Exactly. So then that's why I said people are intimidated by it.
Do you believe Ronaldo regrets coming to Manchester United?
I would say yes, because we know that Ronaldo is a winner. He's used to winning. He's very competitive, and anywhere he goes, he'd like to be number one, challenging for some title, some championship. And I doubt that he'll get any silverware this year. So
Manchester United.
Exactly.
You have a point. Being that that's the case, isn't it also a possibility, the fact that he's such a competitive person, and being that he's not being able to compete with the best of the best in the Premier League, and not just the Premier League but also in Europe, his attitude towards the club and his teammates and managing staff around him can be very poor. He could display a poor attitude towards his teammates and managing staff and the club overall, which might also cause some sort of issue within the team.
Yeah, we have seen it a lot of times. When you think players should pass him the ball, you can see his behavior and mannerism whilst on the field. He's very, disgruntled and upset and like a spoiled child out there on the field. So
like, you pretty much say, give me the ball, you're not good as me, so just pass the ball to me, even if you're in a better position. Once that player don't score or do something great with the ball, he's upset because he think the ball should come to him.
Exactly.
I guess that's what's currently happening. But I personally think it's like time for a lot of people that is at Manchester United to leave. The Eric Bailly, which I think personally is probably one of the best defender at Manchester United, but he's not getting any games regardless of the managers who come in. So I think he can go. Jesse Lingard can go. He's not getting any game either. Van der Beek can go. Phil Jones can go. Who else? Martial can go. How many other deadlocks is at the club? Pretty much.
Maguire can go.
I would agree with you, but knowing United, that's not going to happen. Let's move on to Chelsea versus Spurs. Chelsea defeated Spurs 2-0. Did you see that game?
Yeah, Chelsea versus Tottenham game. Chelsea won 2-0. First leg of the semi-finals. It was a good win by Chelsea. Romelu Lukaku actually starting this game. Good win by Chelsea. They outplayed Tottenham. Even though Tottenham were on a good run of form of late, I thought this would have been a very competitive game based on what was happening with both clubs. Chelsea drawing, not being their dominant self of late, and as we said, Tottenham on a winning spree are bouncing back since Antonio Conte has taken over, but unfortunately Chelsea was just better one on the day.
First defeat also for Spurs in England since Conte takeover. But what I saw in that game was just two different class of teams. It shows you that Chelsea is a way better team than Spurs, because that first half was pretty much like big man and boys. Chelsea dominated Spurs in every shape, form of the game. I can't even recall a shot that Spurs took at goal in that first half. So it was a big time performance by Chelsea coming off that 2-2 draw with Liverpool, where they showed some level of finding back their original game that they had in the earlier season. I don't see Spurs coming anywhere close to Chelsea to change the result in the second leg. So that would be my next question to you. Do you think Spurs can actually turn things around in the next leg?
I don't think so. I would agree with you. I don't see Spurs doing anything.
And there will be no Son. Son is out injured.
Your quote-unquote best player at Spurs.
Facts.
But yeah, I don't think that there's much that they can do to turn it around. But then again, it's a game of football. Yeah. Well, we have seen Barca turn around a scoreline that we thought would have been impossible in the Champions League. So, but really and truly, Spurs is not Barca, so that's not going to happen.
Exactly. So we know. Was just about to make that statement that they're talking about a team with Neymar and Messi and Suarez. I don't see none of that.
But just saying that, team. You know, the game of football, we have seen some spectacular things, because even with Liverpool and AC Milan, they thought that would have been, you know,
2-0 is not something that you can say, oh, they can't come back from. But just based on how Chelsea played and how Spurs played, you would not think that they will come back from that, especially with one of their main players gonna be out. You would not bet Spurs to be in position to move on to the finals.
And it all depends on the approach that Tuchel might take in terms of probably resting certain players for the second leg.
That
so hopefully he doesn't do that.
But I don't think he would do that. I think you want trophies, and all trophies would matter to him right now. All right, Romelu Lukaku apologized for his Sky Sports Italia interview that he did about wanting to go back to Inter Milan, and you remember that whole story. What did you think about his apology?
Lukaku realized that, hey, based on his statement, because one, coming to that Liverpool game, he was dropped, he wasn't in the squad, and I guess he saw his career flashing before his eyes, so he knew that in order to make good with the coach, he had to apologize, because he wants to be playing, you know, as a professional athlete. Yes, you want to play, you just don't want to be there, regardless of you getting paid or not. You want to be out there on the field. So as I said, he said he's sorry, and it's up to him to be the bigger man, and he did what he did, and hats off to him for that. And as I said, since the apology, he came back into the team and they won again.
Yeah, and he scored today too, although that was Chesterfield. But yeah, I think he did the right thing. I think he realized that what he did was not right. It was bad judgment, bad timing. It was a distraction for the team. So to come out and apologize to the coach, to the fans, your teammates, I think that was the right approach. And also to have the conversation that he had with his coach about the whole situation and ensure that they are on the same page and everything. That was very professional of him. Got to give him respect for that, because some players would have probably looked at it as they don't see anything wrong with what they do. They were just speaking their mind and be ignorant, and it's whatever. But he did the right thing in my opinion. So big respect to Lukaku for that, being a bigger man. Let's talk about Felipe Coutinho getting a loan move from Barcelona to Aston Villa. Do you believe this will resurrect his career and help to lift Aston Villa up the table?
Well, it's a positive move for him, but I'm not sure about resurrecting his career, because the caliber player that we know Coutinho to have been when he was at his peak at Liverpool and then went to Barca, and we would have expected him to become the now superstar, megastar, but unfortunately that didn't happen at Barcelona. He became like none and void basically. Sometimes he didn't even remember he was still at the club.
Yep.
But going to Aston Villa, he should, and I said should again, should be a positive impact at the club. Hopefully getting some game time, bring back some of that old spark of Coutinho that we know outside the 18 shot that he used to take while at Liverpool, and it should move them somewhat up. There won't be any top 4 team, but they should be at least being a Europa team because they have a pretty good squad as it is right now.
That is true. I don't know exactly what to think about this move. I know it's a good move for him in order to get game time, as you said, but I don't know if this will be something to help his career move forward or not, but it's a positive move in the sense of, it's a game time and being able to be on the pitch and all of that good stuff. I don't know which Coutinho we're gonna get. That is the thing. I don't know, because once he left Liverpool, it was just downhill from there. But I am hoping that he come back close to the level that he used to be, if he's not able to be at his best, because he was a very, very exciting player to watch. And I'm a big fan of Brazilian players, so I definitely want to see him do well at Aston Villa. And being that the coach of Aston Villa now is a Liverpool legend, you definitely want to see success there. So that is my take on that. All right, let's talk about some local stuff now. Shamar Nicholson was named JFF Male Footballer of the Year. Was it a deserving award?
So Shamar Nicholson has had a sensational form this season, scoring 13 goals in 18 games for his previous club, and based on that season that he has had, it would have helped him to now move to Russia, playing for Spartak Moscow. I'm not sure if other players such as Antonio were in the conversation, because I don't know, because would you say that Antonio would have had a better season so far?
No, not at all. Antonio just started to play for Jamaica. It's well deserved. There is no other person on the team that have done more on the pitch for Jamaica than him. He's the leading goal scorer for Jamaica this year. And
that's true.
Only person I would look at and say, if not Shamar, maybe that person, right, is the keeper. Nobody else.
Yeah, Blake.
Yeah, nobody else. Everybody else is secondary compared to them. So without a doubt, absolutely he deserves it. And I am hoping that with these accolades, it motivates him to even get better and better and become like a dominant figure in not just Jamaica football team, but also on the world football team. I personally believe that he's just a natural goal scorer.
Even prior to Antonio coming, it's like he was the only person who could have scored for Jamaica.
Exactly. And it's so sad that Tapa don't give him any game like that or use him as a bench player. Let's jump into some cricket. Ashes, 4 test matches going on right now. Australia made 416 for 8 and 265 for 6. Usman Khawaja made century in both innings, and England made 294, and at the end of day 4 they were at 30 without loss, with Johnny Bairstow making a 113 that was pretty much pivotal to saving the England men innings. What are you expecting going into this last day of the game?
Hats off to England, they made something
more competitive, right?
Yes.
Yes.
So it wasn't an innings victory as usual, or what we have come accustomed to going for the past 3 games, but a little too late, I would say. But at least they saved some face somewhat. 5 days of cricket, still in it somewhat, so can probably get a draw. But
that's
it
what
will be a
I don't
hard
think
task.
I don't think they're gonna draw the game, because they are now currently 162 for 4 and need 226 more runs. So I think they'll get bowled out, but at least they made a game, at least. So you gotta find victory sometime in defeats.
And I must say, congratulations to Khawaja. I think he's a player who has gotten a lot of fight in Australia cricket. And
is it because of his skin color? I don't know. Anyways, that's not the topic.
Yeah, it is alleged based on certain stuff why he's not being selected, but coming back into the squad and centering both innings, that's great. You know, it's not like say you come and you make 40 or 50, it's a century both innings. Exactly.
And he wasn't batting at his he's normally open innings, and this time he came in at, I think, 6. I think he was batting at 5 or 6, one of those positions.
5th.
Yeah.
And hopefully this will, I don't want to say cement, but get him back some playing time until he fails. But hats off to him. Love to see when players come in and make use of their opportunities and perform. So that's a great show by England this trip around. Little bit too late. Should have come earlier in the series, but Australia just too dominant for them. Yeah, that's my take.
Yeah, I agree with you. They're still going to lose the game, but at least they can, I won't even say hold their head up, but at least they can feel like they're actually giving Australia a game this time around to bring it to the 50, to actually make Australia bat twice. So yeah, I don't even want to say congratulations to them because it's still failure, but it's not as bad as the previous games. And I don't know, I just don't think that it really make that much of a difference what they are doing now, but at least they are trying not to get beaten like they did in the other games. So yeah, shout out to England for saving a little bit of face. I don't know what to say about that. All right, let's move on to West Indies versus Ireland. The first ODI played today at Sabine Park. West Indies made 269 and Ireland made 245. West Indies won by 24 runs. Shamar Brooks on debut made 93, and the skipper, Mr. Reliable, Kieran Pollard, made 69. Alzari Joseph and Romain Shepherd picked up 3 wickets each. How did you feel about today's performance by West Indies?
All right, so congratulations to West Indies on winning this game, but I am still not happy with the performance in its totality, because if you break down the game and if you actually watch the game, you realize I wasn't even expecting West Indies to score nowhere near 269. They were batting so slow initially, and I wouldn't say it was any great, wonderful bowling. It's just that we still have this mentality of just only wanting to go hard or done.
I think the bowling was good and the wicket was pretty tough to bat on in those first, I would say, 15-20 overs. The ball was doing a lot.
Right. I would say it's just West Indies not learning to rotate their strikes, and just, if it's not 4 or 6, we still just blocking. And because if they were actually rotating their strikes earlier in their inning, and then with the power hitting what they had in those middle overs, they would go on 300 plus, probably even 400. But with one, and as I said, Pollard came in and he did his thing. Shamar Brooks made 93 on debut. Brilliant from him, winning the Man of the Match award. Hopefully can continue on this performance. Sorry that he didn't get to make his 100, but West Indies need to learn to just lessen their dot balls, because I'm sure if you were to check how many dot balls they had, it would be a ton.
Okay, I think you're being a little bit harsh. I can understand wanting the strike to rotate more. That is something that West Indies definitely need to work on. But also, I personally think that the first few, as I said, 10, 15, 20 overs that we were batting, I think the wicket wasn't that easy to bat on, and the bowlers were hitting the right areas. They were moving the ball. So I think we did well to actually make 269. Shamar Brooks on debut came in, bat well, made a good solid 93. I wish he could have went on to make 100. I personally was questioning if he belonged in the team, because when he was coming to the crease, they were showing his list A stats and it was not impressive. He had like an average of 29 650s, no centuries. Like, it wasn't impressive to me, but sometimes we can share that stats is not all. He came out and he bat well today. Pollard, that you think should not be in the West Indies setup anymore, and you think is a failure and all these things that have been, these crazy things you've been talking. And I've been trying to tell you that Pollard have been West Indies' most consistent batsman in T20 and ODI, right? Outside of Shea Open ODI, Pollard, since he has become captain, he really has shouldered that responsibility whenever the team needs him. And it shows here again, West Indies was in a pretty tough spot when you come to the crease, and him and Shamar Brooks put that good innings together, get West Indies in a great spot, set us up for a good finish, and let us get to a solid total. And also got to congratulate the young bowlers, the Romario Shepherd, Alzari Joseph, Odin Smith. They bowl well. Akil Hussain, as usual, gonna bowl well. So yeah, I think overall it was a decent performance. I know a lot of people thinking that West Indies should just come out and beat Ireland so convincingly. That no, that's not the case. Ireland is not as terrible as a lot of people are thinking. Ireland is a pretty decent ODI team. They are very close in quality as far as I am concerned to West Indies. They are almost on par with West Indies as far as quality is concerned. So
is that to say that
they are not a walkover team for us?
Is that to say that West Indies is a horrible team, or is just that Ireland is a very decent team?
I would say that West Indies is a very talented team, but we play horrible cricket. That's what I would say. Based on Ireland history in cricket, we expect them to suck, but they don't suck as how we expect them. So I would say it's a little bit of both.
But at a point in time, I thought this game was way out of West Indies' hand when Ireland was going, and they were like 170 for 3. I thought the game was over for West Indies.
They were 160 for 1. Let me tell you where I think the game really changed for Ireland, when Matt Bryan had to be retired early, right? I think right there the game kind of changed for Ireland, because new batsman come to the crease. Even though the new batsman came in, made 50, still put them in a good position. But the fact that you could not keep that partnership that Matt Bryan and Balbirnie was making, I think if they continued, we would have been in trouble, because you could see at the back end of the Ireland innings, with a little bit more time to go, they will probably get that total, because at one point they were needing 80 from 40 and end up losing by 24 with 5 balls to spare. So that shows you that the game was not totally out of their hands. I agree that we do have to improve, but we should not be expecting West Indies to walk over Ireland.
If this was Australia versus Ireland, what would we be saying? Australia should beat Ireland.
West Indies is not Australia.
That's who we should be competing against. We should be in the classes of Australia, India, England.
I agree with you, but currently we are not, and it requires us to work to get to that point. So I can't say we should be like Australia when I know where we are currently at. We should be working towards that, but currently we are not there. Let's get into your favorite sports, basketball. Kyrie Irving is back, made his return for the Brooklyn Nets against Indiana Pacers. How impressed were you with Kyrie being back?
It was a good showing. 22 points, showing its all-star caliber. A lot of players, when they come back after not playing for some time, you see a bit of rust, but he wasn't at his optimum, but he was very good. It shows that, yes, with him, Brooklyn Nets will be a task, but then again, he's only half there. So, and I think that will be a problem for them either way, because being at the playoff, all your games won't be on the road, some will be at home, so you won't be eligible to play unless we know he takes the vaccine. But good showing for him, came out, did his thing, and it shows that yes, the Brooklyn Nets definitely miss him and need him in order to win a championship.
The return of Kyrie show that basketball actually missed them. Seeing them handles, didn't miss a beat, look the same. But as you said, I still think it would be difficult for them to win a championship with him only being able to play away games, because as you said, not every game gonna play on the road. If the finals is with Golden State and Brooklyn Nets, he can't play at all, because there's a mandate in San Francisco where Golden State play, and there's a mandate in New York, so you won't be able to play at all. So I don't know, but glad to see Kyrie back playing basketball. Let's move on to Klay Thompson making his return this Sunday against the Cleveland Cavaliers. How you expect Klay to be or look this Sunday?
Well, if he's even 60 to 70% near his best, ain't nobody win the chip from Golden State this season, but it's great to see him back almost 2 years out. So,
almost over 2 years.
well,
2019.
yeah, so he didn't. Yeah, he should have came back, and I think it's during the warm-up or preseason he got injured again. But don't know what to expect of him, how he look. We have seen Klay in some practices. It's a warm-up game, you know, doing his little dribble and thing. I'm very eager to see what he looks like when he comes back. See if the Splash Brothers team up again and take over the league. And I said, he's anywhere near his best. I don't see any team beating them based on how the Golden State Warriors are currently playing, because when I saw Golden State with a weakened team beat Phoenix Suns, who was at full strength, I'm saying, whoa, imagine that.
Yeah, I think with Klay back, it will definitely improve or boost the Golden State Warriors' chance of winning the championship. I think that it will actually make them the clear-cut favorite. I like how the league looks now. There's a bit of parity to the league. Golden State is a good team. Phoenix is a good team. Milwaukee, Brooklyn Nets, Chicago. There's so many teams that I think can probably make it to the finals, which is very good for the NBA than when you had just like those 1 and 2 teams that you just sure and positive about they are going to be the teams in the finals. You know what I'm saying? Looking forward to seeing Klay back tomorrow. All right, let's jump along to who you want to talk about the most. Your Lakers. They are currently on a 4-game winning streak. The longest winning streak they have had all season. Longest winning streak all season. Is this the Lakers turning around things? Or is just this a mirage?
It's too quick to say they're turning around, because really and truly they didn't beat anybody. They beat Trailblazers, Timberwolves, the King, and the Hawks. But what I would say, Lakers having continuity within the squad, and that is, I believe, is helping them with the victories that they're having, versus when earlier in the season Spurs would have played today and then tomorrow they're in protocol, or persons play today, they're injured, suspension, and I believe it would have affected, you know, the chemistry. And funny enough, based on even what is happening now, because LeBron is playing center, man got to be the greatest player, can play every position, point guard, center, shooting guard. But anyways, with AD returns, you know, there will be some shuffle in the lineup, and we'll then can use that time to assess the Lakers. Is this actually a championship or a contending team? 4 wins, hats off to them, because we have been accustomed to winning 2, maybe 3, and then lose.
So how long you think this winning streak will last?
It's hard to say, because, as I said, think that they'll continue to win some more games, because it's not like they're barely winning because they blew out the Trailblazers and they actually, you know, put some gap between them and the Hawks. Timberwolves game was pretty close, you would say, but they're playing well. LeBron 30+ game in almost every game. It's just one game he didn't go 30+, playing at an MVP caliber, putting up great numbers, leading his team to victory. So let's see if it continues. Hopefully we can put on a nice little stretch, maybe a 10 game.
Their next game is against the Memphis Grizzlies. You think they can beat the Grizzlies?
Why not? The last time out, they were right in it. It's just that 4th quarter let down the Lakers.
The Grizzlies are on a run.
Exactly. The Lakers too, but
no, not like the Grizzlies. This Lakers.
Not like the Grizzlies. Yeah.
This Lakers. This is not even a run. This is just This is just. I don't know even what to call it. This is not a run. This is just. They just happen to play 4 weak teams.
Yeah, because prior to these, it was the Grizzlies who they play, and Grizzlies beat them, and because Ja Morant scored 41. But I would say in that game, the Lakers was in it, honestly. But this time around, Lakers chemistry up. Let's see what will happen. I think they'll beat them this time around.
This game should be playing Monday night, so we'll see if that's true. We'll revisit this topic at a later date. That should do it for our 20th episode of Sport Talk Zone. You can check us out on all streaming platforms and also on Instagram at Sports Talk Zone 876.